Ready to go live. Hello, everybody. I think we are live. We are live here. I am Miss Katie, that vegan teacher from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And my guest today is George Martin. Hi, George.
Hey, Miss Katie. Thanks for having me on again.
Why don't you tell everybody where you are from and why you're a vegan?
Sure, yeah. So I'm based in the UK in a city called Bristol, although I'm from the southeast of England originally, but now I'm living in the sort of west part of England, a place called Bristol. Very good vegan scene here, lots of amazing vegan restaurants, and I just wish more people could be a bit more active here because there's plenty of vegans, but not enough activists. Yeah, and I'm vegan because, well, it was after watching a speech in 2012, Gary Yourofsky's Best Speech You Will Ever Hear, it's
Oh,
called.
I love that speech.
Yeah, so check that out on YouTube,
Yeah.
folks, if you haven't seen that yet. And yeah, after watching that, I decided that the only logical thing, the only ethical thing to do was to go vegan.
Right. Yeah, great speech. And you have a lot of strong opinions. I know you from YouTube. I've never actually met you in real life, but it feels like we have because we watch each other's work. And you have a lot of strong opinions about things that really piss people off.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they do. Personally, I think they make logical sense. You're always logical. You're not like me, a screaming. You don't scream. You don't start crying. You don't have like a whole range of characters. You're basically just this guy who's like, no, this is what I think, and that doesn't make sense. And that's how I see you. What do you think?
Well, do you know what? You've hit the nail on the head there, because people these days, they tend to like people more who just think emotionally rather than logically. And so that's why I think a lot of vegans don't like me. Because I'll just say stuff.
So wait. So you're saying you think it's the vegans that don't like you?
Oh, yeah. Well, Gary Yourofsky said, I have more enemies inside the vegan movement than outside it. And I found that funny when I first got into Gary's work and I was a baby vegan, right? I was like,
yeah.
Well, load of nonsense. How can that happen? And then the longer I've been vegan, yeah, absolutely. I've never had it. If you compared like the amount of like call out posts and hate mail I've had from non-vegans to that of vegans, it's like a drop in the ocean. Like that, most of the hate I get is from vegans.
Well, see, that's really interesting because my theory is that you're not out there enough because you are in the vegan circle, and that is really who is watching you. So of course they're going to call you out when you piss them off about a pronoun issue or about Aboriginal or Indigenous rights issues or about fur or whatever it is. That's because everybody basically are all vegan animal rights activists, but everyone has their own thing. Like they identify as whatever, a fat person, a dark person, a smoker. I don't know. Like everybody has their own little things, right? And if you start to pick at that, like you say, well, I don't think vegans should be smoking because, cigarettes are tested on animals. And then they're like, then they get pissed off at you, even though you might agree on 99% of other things. Yeah. So I think, I have like an enormous amount of haters. I mean, just absolutely the vast majority of my watchers are haters. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's hard to break out of the vegan world especially if you're just calm and you're just educating. That's what I used to do before I went on TikTok. As soon as you start doing things a little bit radical, then everyone starts flocking and like, what's this crazy person doing? But if you that's what I was just telling you before we went on, right? I said that people watch my channel, but as soon as I do anything, normal, like just sit there and talk, they're like, oh, this is boring. You don't want to learn just facts. Why aren't you screaming? I miss the rage. They're always saying, where's the rage? Like,
I get you. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't as that vegan teacher, aren't you? Because people hate you for the controversy, but then people want the controversy as well. It's like, make up your minds. What do you want, people?
Yeah. Right. So, okay. So you, what would you say then? Let's talk about the issues that you are struggling with, or you're not struggling with, but that people, what do people piss off? Why are people pissed off with you? Let's go through them.
People in the vegan movement are pissed off with me because I don't believe that veganism has a certain political affiliation of any kind. So I think veganism...
I'm going to give you a check mark.
Yeah. I don't think it's a leftist movement. I don't think it's a conservative movement either. I think it's just a moral obligation. If someone didn't harm children, you wouldn't say that was a left-wing position.
Right.
So it's speciesist when leftist vegans say, no, this is a leftist movement and the idea of not exploiting animals is inherently leftist. fuck off. That's speciesist as hell, because you're saying that animals are so like inferior that that any kind
Hold
of
on a
basic.
second. Sorry, I have to interrupt. Did you just say fuck off to somebody? Okay, check mark.
Yeah, 100% I did. And what they're doing there is they're distinguishing animals as this like inferior separate category whose moral value is like so low that
Yeah.
if you're to actually care about them and grant them basic moral consideration, this means it's like a political thing. No, it's just
Right.
basic decency.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I found that really frustrating too, and I totally understand where Gary Yourofsky is coming from. That the people who don't know about veganism, or the people who are just like so deep into carnism, who are just like have no clue, who think you're completely out to lunch, who are like, what does the word vegan mean? What? Why doesn't she eat eggs? Why doesn't she drink milk? I can't even get mad at those people.
Yeah.
Like, to me, they're as innocent as like a little bunny rabbit. Like, they're just like, what? And of course they're gonna get mad, because, hey, what do you mean I can't have milk anymore? Ooh, fuck you. Like, you can't get mad at those people. The people that I get upset with are, the type of people that you're talking about, like the animal rights activists who are just like so inconsistent and so hypocritical in their values, and who just won't go deep enough, and just then they back off. And those who like vegetarians are right up there with my other group that I don't like, because they know about the animal exploit.
Yeah, the funny thing with vegetarians is, and this just kind of proves like the whole motives deep down about vegetarians. What they'll do is they'll go past an animal rights demo and they'll say, "Oh, you don't need to talk to me. I'm vegetarian." And then you give them the benefit of the doubt. You give them the benefit of the doubt, and you go, "Oh, okay, so you're a vegetarian. Had you wondered what happens in the dairy and the egg industry?" And then they say, "Yeah, I know that." So it's like, well, hang on. Then you just used an excuse, didn't you? You went past and said, "Don't talk to me. I'm a vegetarian."
Yeah.
As if you don't know what happens in these industries. And then you just admitted that you do know. So you fully well know that you're doing this, and you're claiming to be an ally of the animals when you're not.
Exactly. And what do you do when you meet people like that?
Well, I have to try and be patient but truthful, because ultimately it's the same. If you're speaking to someone who eats bacon and they walk past the demo and they say something, you still want to actually engage in conversation with them and make sure they understand why it's immoral what they're doing. So I treat and some vegetarians, I think when I do kind of expose that and they say, "Okay, yeah, I do know," I think they feel kind of a bit guilty that they lied, and then you can kind of work on them a little bit, and I think the guilt kicks in a little bit more, and that makes them more able to understand that. But here's the thing, Miss Katie, with vegetarians. What I find with vegetarians is there's no middle ground. They're either the most open and receptive people to the message, or they are the worst carnists of all, like the worst. There doesn't seem to be this just like normal bog standard meet in the middle vegetarian. They're either really easy to talk to, or they're a complete like.
I totally agree with you. And because if sometimes they're vegetarian and they're, like I said, just as innocent as a little lamb. Like, they're just like, "Oh, I'm not eating meat," and they just really just don't know. Like, they don't. And I was kind of like that for a while. I was like, okay, well, I'm buying the organic milk. Like, come on, how bad? I'm just eating an egg. I'm not killing. And then you realize about the egg industry and how they grind up these baby boy chicks at 1 day old because they'll never be able to lay eggs, and what they do in the dairy industry with also, killing these little newborn calves because they'll never be able to give milk. And then, it's like a slap in the face, like a wake-up call when you realize, oh my God, I've been lying to myself all this time. I was really,
Yeah. 100%. And that's the most important thing, is to be honest with yourself. You can't walk around pretending that you're doing good when you're not, And this is what I would say to any vegetarians watching. Please stop lying to yourselves. Please stop walking around with a halo over your head thinking that you're on the side of the animals, because you're funding chicks being shredded alive. You're funding calves being killed with pickaxes. You're funding lambs being slammed to death in the wool industry and then being packed off onto ships to the Middle East. You're funding all of that if you're vegetarian. So please don't pretend that you and us have something in common. You either support animal oppression or you don't.
Yeah. I had someone the other day, I was speaking to, said, "Oh, you'll be happy to know we ordered the vegetarian Indian food." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, why didn't you get the vegan one?" I'm like, "Oh, you're always so negative. Like you're never supportive." It's like, I've been vegan for coming up in June 6 years. Like, you know about the dairy industry. How long do you want me to be supportive for? Like, at some point, it's like, no, like, you know
Yeah.
better. Like, this is not something I'm going to pat you on the back. This is something I'm going to give you shit about. Like,
Yeah, like what did they want you to say to that? Oh,
yeah,
well done for killing the calf. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Um, so do you want to talk about Sheena?
Yeah, so I mean this isn't specifically, I mean Sheena specifically isn't like some
You want,
kind of
what's her last name again? What's Sheena?
she's called Sheena Nova, isn't
Nova,
she?
that's it. Yeah.
She's on
So
TikTok. So she's and she makes uh, the odd video here and there talking about how like vegans are sort of like infringing on indigenous culture and
let's
how
just do a background, okay? So she is an
yeah,
Indigenous person. She's extremely beautiful. She has 3 point whatever 9 million followers on TikTok, like a lot. And she's often posing in some sort of earrings that are come from ripping the skin off a dead animal. And she's, I'm so Indigenous, and I'm so, look at me, I'm so natural. When you're wearing makeup and living in a house with electricity and everything else, but yet trying to tell us that this is somehow part that we're attacking her culture. If we're like, anyway, what do you think about all that?
yeah, absolutely. So her and many other people are using their identity as like a weapon. They're
Yeah.
weaponizing their identity in order to be lazy and just eat pizza and eat burgers, just like everyone else. So, the idea of this, sort of indigenous person on TikTok who actually lives like in an igloo or something, or, if you go actually into the States, who lives in like a wigwam or something like that and foregoes all technology and then hunts the buffalo with like a bow and arrow or something. It's a myth. And it's actually, if anything, it's a racist caricature. Indigenous people are just normal people. They go to the cinema. They're the pilot flying your plane. They're the person who, just won the lottery last week, or the
Yeah.
teacher at your school. They're just normal Americans and Canadians and so on.
Mhm.
So it's completely out of order for anyone. And same as the woke white people, to use their identity to excuse animal oppression. We're all in the same boat. It doesn't matter what your racial background is. If you're living in a developed country and you have access to all of these supermarkets and stuff all around you, you have no excuse to be eating animal foods. And did you want me also to talk about why I think this term indigenous is problematic
Yeah.
and how it falls
Yeah,
apart?
it's very interesting.
So this is it's basically indigenous, though, seems to be the excuse du jour at the moment against going vegan. So, oh, I'm an indigenous person, or oh, you vegans, you're infringing on the rights of indigenous people and their traditions, and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing, Miss Katie. All that the word indigenous means is that your ancestors come from the land that you currently reside in. So here's the thing that all these woke American students and stuff
Mhm.
don't realize when they're saying this to me. You're infringing on the rights of indigenous people and all this. I'm a fucking indigenous person. I'm a white British person living in the UK. And they will try. Now, if I was to tell them that, they would probably try and say, oh, well, the context is different. You have to examine the historical context and colonization and all this stuff. Well, okay, let's go there then.
Mhm.
The British Isles are probably the most colonized group of islands anywhere in the world, right? Think how many times the British Isles were colonized, right? Invaded by the Romans and the Saxons, the Angles and so on, and the Vikings, all these different groups that came to the British Isles and forced their way of life on the people. Now, could I, as an indigenous person in the UK, let's say I was not vegan, let's say an Italian vegan said to me, George, you should be vegan. Would I then have the excuse to say to that Italian person, how dare you, enforce your colonial, your colonial vegan practice on me? my ancestors, they hunted wild boar in the British Isles and stuff like that, and they said a prayer in a Celtic tongue and they gave respect to the animals and lived peacefully with the environment.
Used every part of the animal.
Yeah.
And so how dare you
tell
me that I can't go to McDonald's today?
Exactly, because your Roman ancestors came to these lands and introduced mass farming and stuff. It's all a load of bullshit. You cannot use your identity. And the thing is, these people, Miss Katie, they're so culturally ignorant. They probably don't even know of that. They probably just think that only the Americas have been colonized. They don't understand that the British Isles have been colonized and that I'm an indigenous person. Or, so their worldview it's so narrow that they only focus on where they live and what certain people look like to be an indigenous person.
Yeah. Do you want to try and look at a couple of these comments here?
Let's go for it.
I'm having they're going, so I'm just sort of grabbing whatever. But this one says, you want to read it?
Yeah, sure. Baby male cows are almost always called in the dairy industry, culled, I think I should say.
Culled,
in the dairy industry.
Meaning killed, yeah.
Yeah, because they are viewed as waste products. Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, any vegetarians, listening, or any flesh eaters as well, if you're buying dairy products, it's the same as buying a steak. It does the same thing. Male calves don't produce milk. Cows have to be forcibly impregnated, raped with steel devices in order to make them lactate, and they'll give birth. And if their baby is a male, he can't produce milk. He's no good to that industry. So what do you think is going to happen to him? So think about your choices.
Yeah.
There are so many great ways to cook tofu, 100%. You can scramble it, fry it, bake it, grill it. Look up different recipes online and use a wide variety of spices to make it taste great. Be vegan. Absolutely. So tofu, it gets a bad rap, but it's very diverse. You can do so many great things with it. And if you don't like it, if still all those things that you've used it in every way possible and you still don't like it, great. Don't eat it. Eat something else. 20,000 edible plant species on this planet.
Incredible. All right. Let's see what else we have here. I'm just going to click randomly on anything here. Okay. Vegan is best. That's a good one.
100%. Yep. Nothing to add
there. What's this? And sometimes people are maybe responding to other people. So I don't know. This one says.
That could be. Yeah, that could just be a response to someone. Maybe that's what they have in their burrito or something.
Oh, yeah.
Eat whatever you want. Just don't eat whoever you want. Yeah. So that's the idea that animals, because carnists seem to see animals as like these inanimate objects. They say this to people. They say, let people eat what I want. Sorry, did you mean who you want? Did you forget that animal you're eating was a sentient being who breathed, had a heartbeat, and wanted to live?
What do you think about giving animals personhood?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Animals are non-human people. The term, I have to draw a distinction here between the term human and the term person, right? Animals are not humans.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they don't have personalities. Your dog, your cat. Have you noticed that your dog is different to other dogs? They have things they like.
Sure.
They recognize certain faces. They have people they like. They have certain people they might be scared of. They have certain times that they want to play and certain like toys that they want to play with and things like that.
Yeah.
That's called a personality. That means dogs are persons. They're people. We just have a strange, a very narrow definition of what it means to be a person. And look at this historically, okay? At the time of black slavery, black people weren't considered people. So even the definition of people is ever changing.
Yeah.
It's just someone with a sentient individual with a personality. That's a person.
Here's another one.
Animals are made to be eaten. Well, that just shows what a conformist bootlicker this person is. It means they haven't got any kind of independent thought, and just because someone is made for something, that just means that's what it's called is ought fallacy, right? It's what, like, just because something's the way it is, that's the way it ought to be. So mushy mushroom, are you incapable of actually thinking for yourself? Like, and can I just ask, if your parents bred you to have your throat cut, would that justify me and that vegan teacher just saying, well, mushy mushroom was made to be eaten, so it's okay to cut their throat and eat them? Or do you think maybe that would be a problem?
Yeah.
Here's another one. Vitamin B12 is made by bacteria and is also found in water, lentils, which grow around the world. Yeah. So here's the thing. water lentils. Now, most people aren't going to have access to those. I mean, I
That's
don't.
it.
So here's the thing. I just take a supplement. But here's the thing. If you don't want to take a supplement, you can eat fortified foods and stuff. And if any non-vegans listening say, well, we don't have to do that because I just eat a steak. Well, that steak is a fortified food because those animals are fed B12 supplements.
It's all the same.
Yeah, everyone in Western country is eating fortified food for B12, or they're taking supplements. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. So like a typical amount of B12, if you have 2 cups of soy milk a day, that pretty much covers you.
Yeah, and do you have Marmite over in Canada, Miss Katie?
Is that like Vegemite?
Yes, it is. It's very similar.
I think I tried it one time when I was younger, and I was like, but I don't know. I'm open to trying it again. Like,
Yeah.
what is it made out of?
It's yeast extract. It's like a very, very, very salty like spread. It's like black, like
so
tar.
is it sort of like noosh, but in a spreadable version?
Well, it's got B12 in it. Yeah, it's quite rich in B12.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's just a very salty like yeast spread that you can put on your toast.
Is it salty because they add salt to it, or is it possible to just get a non-salty version?
It's salty because they add shitloads of salt to it. Yeah. It's basic. It's almost like eating like hardened soy sauce almost on the toast. It's very
yeah. Can you is it like peanut butter? You could spread it on toast.
So don't spread it on like peanut butter because this is a mistake. A lot of
no, not on peanut butter. I mean, can you spread it like peanut butter on toast?
Well, no, but what I'm about to tell you is basically no, because one mistake a lot of people make when they try Marmite for the first time is they spread it on thickly like peanut butter. You've got to just scrape it on. If you've got Marmite, just scrape it on with the edge of the knife. It should hardly cover any of the bread because it's like if you just slather it on like that. Yeah,
salt plus some B12 in there.
Yes. So do not, whatever you do, spread it on like how you would peanut butter. Just scrape that bad boy on.
Do you know how much B12 is in there? Like if you have half a teaspoon, is that how many milligrams, or is that?
That's a good point. I'm not sure actually. It probably wouldn't be enough for the RDA. Say you had like one piece of Marmite on toast, like say you had one slice of toast with a bit of Marmite scraped on it. I doubt that would provide like the adequate B12, but it's it's something. It's just something in there on top of like your your fortified plant milk and stuff.
Honestly, this whole thing about taking a pill, it's like so not big a deal. You can even take one a week. Like I've been vegan for coming up to 6 years in June, and B12 is just not even on the radar as being an issue whatsoever.
So I'll tell you something funny, right? You know this excuse that carnists use? They say stuff like, oh, well, I don't want to have to take a supplement. I just want to eat it via the food way. I just want to eat it the natural way, which is wrong anyway. That's just an excuse to say they prefer the taste of steak. Now, here's my analogy, right? If cows, let's say when you killed cows and processed them in the slaughterhouse, cows were just these little white pills. But B12 supplements were these juicy, glistening, glazed lumps of fat that you cut into and it like butter with your steak knife, and it tastes delicious, and you can have it with mustard or steak sauce. Let me guarantee you, every single carnist would be taking B12 supplements and saying, no, we should take B12 supplements and we shouldn't eat cows, those little white dots.
Exactly. It's so crazy. There's so much hypocrisy. Hey, listen, George, I just noticed that your camera is kind of out of focus. I'm not sure. Sometimes if you touch the camera and then you back away like that, it'll refocus. But I don't know. Maybe it's just my eyesight. But
mine looks like it's staying there. I haven't seen mine change at all as I've been talking to you.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, let's see what else. Oh, new comments. Okay, the thing hasn't been flowing on my side. Let's see what this person says. I haven't seen.
Well, hold on. We didn't address that last one.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, we didn't do that last one. Should we go back to that last one?
Yeah, it's lost now.
All right, I can answer it because I remember what it said. It said, "Do you think all LGBT people should be vegan?" Yeah, yes. Everyone should be vegan. Yeah. Miss Katie is a member of the LGBT.
Yeah, everybody should be vegan, and people are always, this identity politics stuff is just so crazy. As a member of the LGBTQ community, I want to say that I'm not vegan. Okay, well, why not? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's where I got myself into a bit of trouble over on TikTok is because I would say, I got all these comments that hate, I'm eating burgers, I'm eating like you get like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I'm going to McDonald's. Do you want anything? Like it's all the same stuff, right? So at some point I decided to check who's behind these accounts. Sometimes it was like a 10-year-old, sometimes it was a 50-year-old, and then just randomly, I would address them. So if it's a person who's like 60, I would say, you seem like you're old enough to be a grandparent. Like, don't you think you should be a good example to the children? Like all grandparents should be vegan. Or if it was a woman, I would say, you clearly have kids. Like, why would you want to promote abuse of the female body and have baby cows and chicks murdered when you have your own children? All women should be vegan. All mothers should be vegan. All fathers should be vegan. All white people should be vegan. All black people should be vegan. Uh-oh, here comes a knife because I said that.
Cancelled.
In the same, do you listen to my whole message at all? Like, and then I would point out, look, your ancestors were slaves. How can you justify enslaving other beings? So whatever group it is, you can always find some reason why they should be, vegan. It's like a typical man. Don't you want to be the knight in shining armor? Like, like the image of a man who's going to go in there in a fire and run in there and save the children and, be like, so I would just go after every group, and then
it applies to every person.
And then everyone gets pissed off, and then even the vegans get pissed off. Like if you call out little things that they do, like I know vegans who would show up and at the protests and just be like complete chain smokers, and it's like, why are you, first of all, why are you abusing your own body? But that's your own business. But like you're literally buying this product that is tested on animals and it's just destroying the environment. Like they're planting all of these tobacco, cutting down the forests and make, the poor animals are, running away. And then you're not even planting food that's going to sustain you. You're literally consuming something that hurts people. And you're standing there as an example to children walking by, like, hey, look at me, I'm smoking, how cool I am. Like just the whole thing. Like, so I would say, I don't, why do you smoke? Like, why don't you stop? And then they get pissed off because they would take it personally. And then they would say, what does that have to do with anything? And then it's the same if you go to a protest and somebody's wearing fake fur, for example. People would sort of say, well, maybe don't wear the fake fur to the protest because people don't know. They're going to get it mixed up. And so there's all these different layers, but it's just all this to say it's pretty easy to piss off vegans because there's just so much.
Let's talk about the fake fur thing. Now, I actually am cool with vegans wearing fake fur to protest. The reason for that is because we also wear synthetic leather as well, or jumpers that are made to like replicate wool and stuff like that. So I actually quite like the idea of vegans actually showing up in stuff that just kind of looks like what everybody else wears, but isn't from murdered animals.
Yeah, because then it can be a conversation piece. Well, why are you wearing fur? No, I'm not.
Yes.
Like, come see, that's right. But you see, the thing is, why I think that the fur is sort of a little bit different is, basically I agree with you though. Okay. It's just that for my own, because when there used to be the Cube of Truth, I would do a lot of spying. Spying meaning I would pretend I wasn't with the group and I would stand at either the left or the right, sometimes 20 feet away, sometimes 100 feet away. And I would ask people random questions about what they thought. And just from doing that survey, or even just standing and listening to people going by, I would, take notes and see what they're saying. And a lot of times they would say, what a bunch of hypocrites, they're even wearing fur. Yeah. So if there's not the chance to have the follow-up conversation with them, then it's a shame. So I think it's, or unless we say, have a sign that says this is fake fur with an arrow pointing or something. But I want to talk to you a little bit about We the Free. But you want to just address this comment first on the screen, and then we'll talk about We the Free, which is an organization that you're part of.
Sure, yeah. In nature, does a hierarchy of animals, humans are at the top of the food chain, meaning that we can eat whatever we want. However, for other animals below, as in the food chain, they are picked upon as. Okay, so not a very well written comment there, but I think what this person is saying is that because humans can eat animals and because we're more powerful than all the other animals on this earth, that gives us a justification to eat them. So that's called a might makes right argument. You're basically saying that the more power you have over the victim, the more okay it makes it. So this would be like men saying, well, men have evolved to be stronger than women, and you know, we can very easily overpower and oppress them. Therefore, it makes it okay for me to beat my wife because she's weaker than me. Now that would sound really messed up. Now this is what exactly how messed up it sounds when people say this about animals. Oh, I'm more powerful than this little bunny rabbit, so I can just snap their neck and eat them. No, that actually makes it worse. What, you know, it'd be less bad if you actually picked on someone your own size who could actually fight back against you. If you're picking on defenseless animals,
go
that makes you...
Go and pick on a lion with no weapons. Go do that.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Martinez Seymour.
Oh, God. So We the Free is an organization that you are part of, which do you want to explain what's the difference? Because some people are watching who have no clue about anything. They don't even know what Anonymous for the Voiceless is. So maybe start with that and just say, how is We the Free any different?
Yeah, sure. So so there's certain street outreach groups, outreach movements and stuff where what they'll do is they will stand on the streets, usually standing in some kind of formation, holding TV screens or devices of other kinds, showing slaughterhouse footage and farm footage, and then engaging with people who stop to look at that footage in a conversation about veganism and why we should be vegan. So if you're familiar with Anonymous for the Voiceless, who do that while wearing those anonymous masks and wearing black, you may have seen them in like a city or town near you. We the Free is a new outreach group that works in quite a similar way. And We the Free has quite a cool thing called My Stats, which is like a tracking system where you can actually see how many people have clicked on the links that you give them once you've had a conversation. So say I'm doing an outreach event in Bristol here for We the Free. I'll give out my cards to like bystanders and say, hey, go check on this go have a look on this website, 3movies.wtf. So it's not .com, the We the Free stuff, it's .wtf. That's how the URLs always end.
Activism.wtf. Like what the fuck are we?
Yes. Yep. And
I should have a sign. While you're talking, I'm gonna see if I can make a sign that says that.
Yeah. And then when I get home, I can then look at how many people that I spoke to that day who actually clicked on the links. And you know, unfortunately, you know, the depressing thing is most people will not. That's but you know, if you're finding that you're unsuccessful, that means you can tailor your outreach to maybe work in a different way. You could say, oh, I didn't do too great today with this method. Maybe next time I'll try a different kind of method. And unlike AV, there's no real set outreach method.
Be careful about saying AV because people don't know that means Anonymous for the Voiceless.
Anonymous for the Voiceless. So Anonymous for the Voiceless has a more sort of like, it has more like a quite specific guideline on things to say and how to outreach. We the Free isn't so much like that. It does have a few base things, but it's not like you have to say like very specific kind of things that follow a certain pattern or anything like that. We just like advise, like, you know, as like a way of moving through a conversation, you might want to use what's called the Socratic method, which AV does use as well, which means like asking questions to people. And that's an effective way of getting through to someone about veganism, because there's that saying, the psychological saying, that's something like, people don't believe what they what is it? It's like people don't believe what they're told; they believe what they tell themselves, or something like that.
Something like that. So if they answer the questions and then they go through the movement and the words come out of their mouth, they're more likely to be like, "Oh yeah, and believe it."
Exactly. So if I said to someone on the street, "We have no need to eat animals to survive," they might see that as some kind of like order, or they might see that as my like opinion. But if I ask them, do you think that we need to eat animals to survive? And they go, well, no. Then they're giving the answer themselves. They're telling themselves, and that's quite an effective method.
You know what I find to be a shame about that whole thing, though, is that I just think that we, even from a young age, like kindergarten, people should teach these psychology you know, quirks or whatever you call them to people. Like we should learn that. Like how can, because see, for me, when somebody talks to me like that with this Socratic method, I know what they're doing. I'm just like, you know, like I feel like, well, you're talking down to me. Like, just tell me what you want to say. Don't ask me, you know? Like, so I get a bit frustrated by it. I find it's in a way condescending, but of course it depends on who you're talking to, and all that matters is that they're getting the message in the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah,
I don't know if I said if you understood what I just said that well, but
I did understand you. Yeah, it's like if we know those things, then we'd know how you'd know essentially if someone's using like a method on you.
trick. It's
Yes. But then that means
yeah.
But that means you might not want it taught in schools, Miss Katie, because then we can have the Socratic method to ourselves and people don't know about it. It can be our little secret.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, here we are exposing the big secret. Like, the way that you do activism is by asking questions, and then, but it would just be so much better if people would just know that and just ask themselves things and just know how to. Like, I don't understand what we can do with children in society to get people to question, like even like media literacy, like when you're watching things. Just to be able to go, aha, I see what they're doing there. Like, commercial, like I took a course in university where we did media literacy, and we looked at a whole bunch of ads and what's this, what are the sexual components, and look how the colors are used, and what does this make you feel? And like, but that should be when you're really young. Like a little flyer comes to your kitchen table showing, what, you guys don't know if you get those delivered to your house, but it shows what the groceries are. You could, like, meat on there or whatever, and you can teach this stuff at a really young age. Like, who's trying to manipulate you right now?
You're right. It would help us better decipher propaganda and stuff like that. But then, would the government even want that taught in schools? Do you see what I'm saying? It'd like they'd be defeating their own purpose.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends what the government wants, but I mean, like, look, if I was a school principal, I would want to teach that, and I would say, I would take everyone and say, like, look, maybe you can't take kids to a slaughterhouse, right? Because they're going to be traumatized, but you can certainly show them a carton of eggs, and you can say, what does this make? Like, literally, they sell eggs that say happy eggs, like, or happy cow cheese. Like, how? Like, you can teach that to a 5-year-old in kindergarten. You can say, okay, do you think the cows are really happy? Like, why do you think they write that on there?
But here's the thing. But these industries that want to make profit off that and want to manipulate people, they're in bed with the government, aren't they? They're their pals, they're their allies. They're getting the subsidies and they have the link, and there's an agricultural minister, and the government want to push dairy and stuff like that as much as the dairy industry do.
Terrible.
So it's like, if they're teaching you in school, I mean, the aims of a politician, right, is to get you to believe the things they say and act on those things. That's what politicians do. So if they're teaching, so it would be an unwise move for any government to actually say, let's start teaching in schools from 4 years old how to detect bullshit. Because they want to sell you bullshit, and their friends in the dairy industry want to sell you bullshit, and their friends in big pharma want to sell you bullshit.
Okay, but George, let's try to not be so what's the word I'm looking at? Not negative, but so like
cynical. You said I'm cynical.
Well, yeah, okay, like I agree with you basically, okay, but let's just for fun. Let's just for fun. Like the mayor of New York City. I don't know if you heard, but there was a mayor elected there who is vegan, apparently. Did you hear about that?
I maybe did hear, but the thing is, I'm very suspicious whenever I hear any kind of.
He's a dark-skinned guy. He's a dark-skinned guy, very charismatic, and he lost a ton of weight, and he got really healthy. I think he got had diabetes and then didn't have it. So he's vegan, supposedly vegan, and but he kind of let it slip at one point that he ate a fish like at a restaurant with some people, and the vegans were like freaking out. But vegans are funny that way, right? They're like, oh, let's just pretend that he didn't say that. Yes, this great vegan mayor, because we want everybody to think that he's so good. And like what happened with Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Game Changers. When he was first being, highlighted in The Game Changers, I was freaking out. I was on social media saying, this is bullshit. That guy is no way is he vegan. Why is he? And they're like, shh, just let it go. He's a weightlifter. He eats a lot of vegan foods. And he's saying meat is not for men necessarily. No. But he's a giant hypocrite. And then it came out later. And anyway, I don't know how we're getting all off topic here. You want to read the Twisted A thing down there?
Yeah, sure. Twisted A says, how stupid are humans to kill our planet to produce more foods that are killing us? Yeah, do you know what? I want to read this great quote. Where is it?
Okay. finding a quote.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite quotes about the stupidity of humans. All right. Mike Anderson. I don't know who Mike Anderson is, but he says this. As far as eating is concerned, humans are the most stupid animals on the planet. We kill billions of wild animals to protect the animals that we eat. We're destroying our environment to feed the animals we eat. We spend more time, money, and resources fattening up the animals that we eat than we do feeding humans who are dying of hunger. The greatest irony is that after all the expenses of raising these animals, we eat them and they kill us slowly.
Yeah.
And rather than recognize this madness, we torture and murder millions of other animals trying to find cures to diseases caused by eating animals in the first place. That's a great quote.
It's a giant messed up circle. It's like
a circle of stupidity.
so fucked up. Like,
that's
la,
what kind
la,
of, you know,
la,
they
it's not really happening. La la la, it's not really happening. Like, this is what they tell themselves. Like, no, I'm not really doing anything bad. No, it's all good. It's like, how? I don't know. How can we penetrate people's minds and hearts in a more effective way? This is the $1 billion question. We just need to somehow. Do you think that vegan animal rights activists should work more together? Do you think? Did I actually finish my story about the mayor? I don't know. I felt like I was going to say something there. Anyway, oh yeah, we were talking about cynicism all over the map, being cynical and being a leader, and principals in schools and so on. And anyway, he basically said that he was going to make all these different schools have vegan only foods in the cafeterias and things like that. And I just thought that was, like assuming, like, do you think that somebody like that would be okay to teach kids this whole method of questioning people, like how to teach veganism, like what we were talking about, giving away the secrets of the Socratic method and all that? Like, do you think that type of a politician would be open to it? Because you're always saying they're all in bed with the dairy and meat industries and all that.
Yeah, well, he would probably still have certain financial interests of his own, and he might look, even politicians like that, Cory Booker and stuff.
Yeah.
Unless that is the mayor you're talking about.
No, I forget his name, but yeah.
Yeah, but Cory Booker is a Democrat politician who claims to be vegan.
Yeah.
And then he made some quote recently about, like, what did he say? He said something like, no, it's Americans have the right to eat what they want, or something like that. The point is, Miss Katie, these people are always going to be apologists in some way or another. The thing is with politicians, mayors and stuff like that, they will, especially if a mayor of such an esteemed city like New York, which has big political interests and so on, they will just say whatever's kind of popular to stay in. Now, this mayor of New York guy, he's not going to force all the schools to be vegan or anything like that. He might just slightly introduce like vegan meals here and there. He doesn't massively care. He just wants people to essentially vote him in next election, right? So he's not going to do anything.
He's for sure not talking about the animals ever. He'll talk about the environment and health, but like, I don't understand. How can we? It's like almost like as soon as you talk about the animals, oh no. Now you're trying to make me feel guilty.
Yeah.
No, I'm not voting for you.
Exactly. And all these politicians who claim to be vegan, all they're going to do is they're just going to work with the dairy farmers to kind of say, look, guys, like, you keep doing what you're doing, but I've got to just say that, I'm sure we can agree about the environmental side of things, right? And maybe we should just encourage meatless Mondays and this kind of stuff. And then the beef and dairy farm will say, yeah, okay, I kind of get you. But they don't want to piss these people off. They don't want to piss the farming community off. They're not going to say this is the animal holocaust or anything like that.
Let's talk about that. But first, I'm going to show you the sign I made. Ta-da!
There we are. Fantastic.
It's very tiny because I didn't have a big piece. So that's the group that George Martin, my guest here, is suggesting that you go to. This is a group, but you could start your own group in your neighborhood where you do some animal rights activism. You do some teaching. You can get a T-shirt that looks kind of cool, and yeah. But go on.
What did you want me to talk about? The animal holocaust?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you call it that?
Yeah, I call it that because it, by definition, is one.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, isn't that is like such an insult to people who went through the Holocaust?
And this is the way that Nazis think. the idea that someone is inferior to us and therefore it's like an insult to be compared to them. So if you were to say to a Nazi, this is the same as killing Aryans, they would say, how dare you say that? How dare you compare a Jew to an Aryan? I feel insulted. I feel dirty and unclean that you just compared a worthless Jew to an Aryan. That's what a Nazi would say. Now, this is how people act when you call it the animal holocaust. Yeah. How dare you do the struggles of the human race? How dare you compare that to a stupid chicken or a cow? Well, what you're doing there is you're seeing animals as this inferior race who deserve to be massacred and who aren't worthy of moral consideration.
You just called them a race, and that's what I do too. I mean, I started doing this thing where I say, like, don't be racist towards animals. I even sing it in a song. And the vegan community is like, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not, I'm like, I don't care. I'm using my own words, and I'm using the word racist because you don't understand speciesism. And like, I can't seem to get through your head. So this is how I say it. Don't be racist towards animals. And then I explain, it's like, same thing as looking at somebody and looking at the color of their skin or whatever other features and saying, you are lesser than. That's exactly what you guys are doing. You're looking at pigs and chickens, cows, turkeys, lambs, and you're saying, your body belongs to me. I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm going to hurt you, or I'm going to enslave you. I'm going to eat you. I'm going to put you in a gas chamber, whatever it is. I mean, I don't understand. So I'm trying to, I'm basically taking the word racist and making it my own. And as you probably know, I've done that with a few words because I don't think that we should be, that language necessarily needs to be stagnant.
Yeah, I think Gary Francione actually wrote an essay on it. I think he said, regardless of what you think, speciesism absolutely is racism. He says it's racism. Now, here's the thing. I agree that it is because it's, the human race and the chicken race and the pig race and whatever it is. However, I also think it's fine to actually use racism specifically to just talk about that specific discrimination between humans of different skin colors, and maybe speciesism is the more appropriate word, just so we've got more distinct terms, so we know what we're talking about, and so that we can actually tackle those issues individually, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally get that, and that's what I was doing for a long time, using speciesism or speciesism, as people can say, and I agree, it would be great. But then if you say you're being a speciesist, they're like, I don't care. You call someone a racist, they're gonna be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, I've noticed that when I go after these big YouTubers who have millions of fans, if I call them a racist, I'm gonna get their attention. If I say you're a speciesist, they're like, what the hell's that? No, I don't care.
Although I'll tell you what, though, Miss Katie, the woke brigade is making the word racist lose all meaning. That's the problem, because they say everything is racist now. I was just telling someone last night, actually. Now, get this. Let me ask you a question, right? I actually saw this from some wokel in the vegan community a few years back. He claimed that the vegan
Wait, what did you just say? A wokel? A wokel? Did you invent
wokel, like someone who's like WOKEL.
Somebody who's woke.
Yeah, it's like
I've never even heard that word. Did you invent that?
I didn't invent it, no.
A wokel, somebody who's woke.
Yeah, it's just like a pejorative term. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, a wokey.
A wokey and a wokel, an SJW, whatever you want to call them, right?
Yeah.
He said that the vegan flag, because we have a little vegan flag, was racist. Now, guess why he said that?
Okay, hold on. First of all, if anybody doesn't know, I'm not good at showing on the screen here, but the vegan flag has colors in it that are green, white, and blue. It looks sort of like skyish and has a big V in it. I'm pretty sure the V itself is white. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's it's just colorful, nice flag, I guess. I don't know. Why is it racist? Is it because it doesn't have black in it?
Yeah, you've got to think as dumb as these people, right? You've got to sort of get on their level, stupidity wise.
I'm trying.
You've nearly got it. So yeah, but he basically said it was racist because it has a strip of white in it.
The Italian flag too, then.
Yeah, he would say that was racist as well, I'm sure.
And the Canadian flag it's white and red, like that is so racist.
he would and he would say that's all. Yeah, he would be like, yeah, well, that says it all. Like that just shows these colonialist countries and blah blah. And I asked him, well, what about the Nigerian flag? Are they racist? Because there's no black in the Niger. It's green, white, green. They've got a big white of white in the middle.
They will cling on to anything, and sometimes you think, okay, this person has to be like 12 years old, but they're not. It's crazy.
They're adults who have the minds of little children, and they're just trying to find things to be offended by. There's a syndrome, Douglas Murray talks about it, called George and the Dragon syndrome. So the metaphor is George has slayed the mighty dragon. So let's call it, sort of racism, sexism from the system, whatever it is. And now, slavery, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And now that dragon has been slayed, George gets bored that the dragon has been slayed. So he goes around stabbing all these little tiny lizards, like little newts and geckos and stuff, which are like obviously not dragons. And this is his analogy for what the woke mob are doing. It's just like we live in such a diverse society now where humans are free, animals are the truly oppressed group, right?
Yeah.
But they're looking for things to be offended by. They want to find tiny things like, oh, that flag there that has a strip of white in it, that's racist.
Yeah.
Because lynchings aren't happening anymore and stuff. That's been defeated. That's highly illegal and frowned upon. You could be fired and your life destroyed for even saying a certain political opinion or saying something that was politically incorrect. You could be cancelled for that in the society we live in. People get arrested for tweets and YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Think of how far we've come and what society is now. So they've got to find these tiny little things.
It's crazy. I really think it is absolutely wrong. The cancel culture that we have now, it's just so crazy. I mean, as you know, I almost had 2 million followers on TikTok with all of my accounts combined. And the fact that, a bunch of 12-year-olds can take down somebody's account, because that's what it is. We're not having a democracy here. We're not having adults who are looking at the situation saying, okay, is this something that she did that's not okay? Like, literally, I was doing what everybody else is doing. And, I was just giving my opinion. And my opinion is not racist, sexist, homophobic at all or anything like that. And it's just the guilt that these people feel. And so you can get, 10,000 Minecraft YouTubers over on Discord who decide, well, we're going to take that person down. We're just going to report the account so much for nudity. No nudity. It's like literally a dog in the video. Like, they'll just report anything they want. So we have to find as a society a way to get over this, because the way it will change is when enough people who are in positions of power start to find themselves getting canceled. And then it's going to be like, wait a second, I was okay with all you guys getting canceled, but were you coming after me now?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're just bored, unsuccessful loser people who are just looking for something to do generally.
Yeah.
And I know you were talking more about the kids there. I guess what I've said applies more to the adults and stuff, because kids will be kids, right? But these adults have got to grow up.
The adults are not helping because they're encouraging it.
Yeah.
And it's so you can bring out any kind of great argument or discussion in something, and they'll just not even address what you're saying. They'll just say, "Oh, you're ugly." It's like, okay, thanks for letting me know you're like the 1000th person, but hey, this is the body I was born in. These are my eyes, this is my nose, this is my hair. Sorry, let's talk about the animals now. Oh, you're too skinny. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's because they don't actually have an argument, so they just resort.
Why don't you go talk to this? Why don't you go talk to this fat vegan that I know, this great animal rights activist who is bigger? Oh no, she's fat. Like, okay. So which exactly body type do we need to be to impress you? How much muscle? Let me write that down. What percentage muscle do I have to have?
And then you show them a muscular vegan, they go, steroids. Like, you can't win with these people.
Yeah. You know what's embarrassing, though? I have to tell you something that happened to me when I was newish vegan. And I saw these bodybuilders. I was like, no. I was like, no, that I think it was even Nimai Delgado. I was like, that guy's on steroids. Come on. Like, even me, that was my first reaction. Like, how can this guy be building all this muscle just by eating plants? But I didn't think that anybody could build that much muscle without taking steroids. But the guy works out. He's in amazing shape.
Yeah, the whole steroids thing. well, here's the thing. Even if there is a vegan bodybuilder who does take steroids and they have this hugely like unnatural physique that you could probably only get by taking steroids, well, guess what? Non-vegan bodybuilders take fucking steroids as well. What do you think they're taking to get that big? You think that by eating fucking chicken that you can get like the size of a gorilla? The human body can't do that. So why are they like steroids are taken 99.9999% of steroids on this planet are taken by non-vegans in the bodybuilding industry. Yet when a vegan does it, it's like that must be a thing about veganism.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a comment here.
Yeah, from Twisted A again. Pigs are put in gas chambers, chickens in hot scald vats, cows held upside down and with a knife to the throat. Stop supporting cruelty. Yeah, these are all the horrific injustices that happen to these animals in these industries. What have humans learned? You know, after the Holocaust, the phrase was never again. And here we are putting animals in gas chambers.
Nobody's learned anything. And the problem is people spend so much time just playing video games and just wasting their time in life instead of actually learning from history. Like I'm always amazed when any young person says, I'm bored. I'm like, that is a crime. How can you possibly be bored? There is so much to learn from history so we don't repeat these mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, and they're just like so navel gazing. And that's why I get pissed off at vegans who play video games. I don't know if you've heard, but I've gone after a few of them who are like, you know, streaming online. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like there's 50 bajillion streamers. Like you're smart. Like don't even waste 1 second playing this dumb game. Like if you may be tired of, you know, being so tough, you can still just, you know, interview people or just, I don't know, read a vegan story. Like there's must be a million other ways to enjoy yourself online than to waste time with these video games that are basically all killing each other. People, Vegan Games, I gave him shit for that. Do you know him?
Oh, of course I know Vegan Games.
Like, what are you doing? I tune in on a live and he's like, oh, I'm just like, oh, like killing each other. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like you're such a staunch animal rights activist. You're so, you know, like you know so much. You're so smart. Like don't be doing this. Like
you had Vegan Games on, didn't you, to discuss the killing predators thing? Or he just mentioned that in
that's
a live with
discussion, isn't it?
That is like, a very interesting discussion.
That's like next level veganism. Like, yeah. So you want to explain to people what that is? What we're talking about there?
Yeah. So Vegan Gains, after a conversation with Dr. Avi. So Dr. Avi is like he's very good on his philosophy stuff. He's a medical doctor, and he managed to convince Vegan Gains of this position that the most consistent thing for vegans to do, Dr. Avi is vegan himself, would actually be to shoot carnivorous predators and stuff in nature whose lifestyle completely revolves around going around and being violent to other animals.
So this is such a fascinating idea because we're at the stage now where we're like, look, the lion has to eat the zebra. You're not a lion. You don't have to eat the zebra. The lion does. So be vegan and just leave nature alone. Nature is beautiful. All these animals are in this cycle of, you know, reproduction and then their bodies go back into the earth and all this. And then someone goes, excuse me, why are we letting the lions kill the zebras when we're not letting that guy kill the zebra? We're not letting that guy kill each other. So yeah, it's basically, if we're going to be the police of the planet, then let's be morally consistent. Lions should not be allowed to kill zebras.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I think, yeah. But then like everyone's so like, everyone loves lions. But like it's so weird. Like they all love these animals, but yet they don't. They don't want them near them, and they don't. Anyway, what do you think about the whole thing?
Well, what I think is, look, I completely understand the position, because obviously if you would stop a human from murdering a deer, why would you not stop a carnivorous animal from murdering a deer? The deer doesn't give a shit whether it's a human or a lion murdering them. They just don't want to have
a wolf or whatever. Yeah,
they don't care. They feel the pain and the horror, the agony the same. So
fear.
Yes, I do think we should do something about animals being violent to other animals in nature, but I don't have a good solution to it. I just don't know what to do. And I do think the whole shooting carnivorous animals, it can also lead to potentially insane logical conundrums if you apply it to humans. Like, let's say you have a toddler who you know, like let's say you hypothetically know this toddler is never ever going to go vegan, would it be ethical to murder that toddler because you'd be saving, because humans are predators as well. So why, if you're going to shoot predators in nature, that would mean you'd have to shoot humans who'd get away with it, and
Okay,
if you could get away with it.
I'm not sure that the toddler example, at least for me, maybe our viewers will relate to it. I don't relate to it because it's a toddler. I mean, it's just like maybe somebody else. But I'll give you an example of that, though. That there's another one that got me into trouble. Is I said that I decided, I think in Britain, if you die, your organs automatically get donated, right?
Yes, that rules just came in. It's now opt out rather than opt in for organ donation.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So anyway, I don't even know if it's changed here by now either, because I haven't worked as a nurse for 10 years now. But anyway, we would sign our back of our driver's license or something like that. Anyway, so I said I'm not going to sign it this year to give away my organs, because I don't want to die and have my organs go into somebody like, let's say Trump is having a heart attack. He's been eating animals his whole life. He doesn't give a shit about the environment. He's going to go to McDonald's after, you can give my heart to him. He's going to pump and he's going to rise up and then keep hurting animals. So no, I'm not going to sign it anymore because we're too small of a population. We are only not even 1% of the people. So the odds of my organs, if I die, my eyes, my heart, my kidneys, my lungs, going to any vegans is a minuscule. The more of the odds after I die, let's say I get hit by a bus or something, and they are going to come and all try to harvest them because I'm pretty healthy. They would do fine in somebody. I don't want them to go into somebody who's going to. All these people are going to keep on killing it. So that everyone got really upset about that, saying that, whoa, that's not okay.
Yeah, now here's the thing. I'm having a bit of a moral dilemma over this because, I agree. I'm very uncomfortable with my organs being used after I die, playing a part in the animal holocaust, and that my organs will be used to digest murder victims after I'm gone. The flip side to this is that the fewer people donate organs, what I believe the situation is there is that it actually might result in more animal testing or animals being murdered to have their organs harvested, because they don't care about consent from animals. It's just consent from humans they care about. They're just going to go, well, fuck the pigs. We'll just murder this pig and get the valve from their heart or test on. Exactly. So that's the conundrum.
Yeah, I agree. And look, honestly, I said that because I wanted to create the dialogue and a conversation. Okay. Yeah. But my other character on TikTok, because that was when I was that vegan nurse on TikTok, the other character who was that vegan nurse, she was like, I don't know if you remember her, but she was kind of crazy. She wore these big tails. She's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I signed my organ donor card. Don't forget to sign it, everybody. So she was actually giving the opposite message because she was the nice version, right? So I think I personally think just when people die that we should, the organs should just automatically be shared among whoever needs them. I mean, the person's dead, but if you give me a choice to sign it or not, I'm going to make, I'm always trying to find a way to relate everything that happens in life to the animals and to get people to think about them.
Yeah. Yeah, agree.
Then we have a question here.
Have you heard about organ donor recipients who start craving the favorite foods of the organ donors? Maybe if someone received my organs, they would start craving vegan foods. That is, I haven't heard that. That is pretty hilarious. I don't know if there's any scientific validity to that, but what would your organ recipient crave if they had Miss Katie's organs? What would they be wanting?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, isn't it? Something I started eating just in the last year, which is you're gonna think this is crazy, okay? But I grew up, I'd never eaten some things that everybody had been eating. I didn't even try tofu until I became maybe 15 years ago was the first time I ever even tried it. We never had it growing up. It's just never there, But tahini is another one of those things. Tahini, which is ground up sesame seeds, and it looks like peanut butter. And I just one time, I tried it when I was trying to make my own hummus, and I tried it and I was like, oh, this is really not very good. But then I needed some oomph in a meal once. I started pouring a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons in it. And now I eat it almost every day because I find it gives this depth. It just gives another layer to
umami.
What?
Umami, that's what that's called. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what umami is?
Yeah, well, you can get umami burgers, and yeah, it's just another flavor.
Yeah, that I think that sort of deep, that richness sort of flavor that's almost kind of like this robust kind of almost saltiness that like
Yeah, you
dark soy
crave.
sauce or tahini kind of adds or hummus or
Yeah,
whatever. I guess that's whatever
yeah,
umami is.
yeah. So yeah, tahini. I don't know. I mean, I like everything now, pretty much. I can eat like. What about you? What would be the
Um,
craving?
Oh, I think yeah. If George is, I think my organ recipient, they would be craving spice, because I love spicy food, and they would be craving Biscoff as well. I don't know if you have that Biscoff spread over in Canada, but
What is,
that is like I call it crack on toast. Except I don't even spread it on toast. I literally eat it out of the jar with a spoon.
is that like that Vegemite?
No,
What
this
is
is
it?
like it looks like peanut butter, but it's like a biscuity like cookie. It's kind of like a cookie spread. It tastes like cookies in a thick like peanut buttery textured.
Oh yeah. So
It's
it's
just
sweet. It's sweet and salty.
don't think it's salty. It's just pure sweetness, really. It just tastes like eating a jar of cookies spread
Ugh.
on your toast. But I could eat that shit with a spoon. It's like it's crack,
Yeah, I
honestly.
mean, look, if I'm being completely honest, the thing that I really crave and absolutely love more than anything is a certain cinnamon bun that you can
Mm.
get in Ottawa here in Canada
Oh, really?
at a place called oh god, what is it? I forget now. Not Cinnabon, Cinnaholic? No, I forget. Anyway, it's a cinnamon bun place. They're all vegan, and they're you know the kind of cinnamon bun that you pick up and it's like heavy because it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
so dense but it's like
Mm.
so, and it's like almost undercooked. It's just like there's nothing bready about it. It's really just good.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
undercooked, but it's just like really mushy. You hold it in your hand like a big
It's got that
warm.
doughy sort of yeah.
Yeah, and then but then it has this topping on top that's so light and fluffy. It's like just a giant cloud. You know, it's
Oh,
like
I'm
a
getting
huge
hungry
and
now.
oh my god, I could eat people. It makes me laugh when everybody says, "Oh, you're so skinny," because I'm actually, first of all, I'm not. I actually have fat on me like everybody else, a spare tire and fat on
Mhm.
my ass. But
Yeah.
also people always think, "Oh, she never eats." Like I have to stop myself from eating. I get so excited. Tell my husband, "It's time to eat. My favorite time of the day. Let's go."
Yeah.
Fry up stuff and make stuff. I love eating.
Yeah, 100%. Food is life. I love food as well. And,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. I think this is why a lot of people don't go vegan. They assume that they're giving up something that's just a very huge part of their life because
Yeah.
food is huge to everyone, right? We all love food. But the thing is, you can make whatever you want as a vegan taste like whatever you want. Like,
Yeah.
and even if there was a slight sacrifice in taste, which I don't think there is, I think you can make vegan food as delicious as you want.
Yeah.
Even if there was just like the slightest drop in taste or something, that still wouldn't be an excuse to murder animals.
Even if it tasted terrible, honestly, like it's just not an excuse to hurt another being. It's
You're
just
right.
and what I'm just amazed that we even have to talk about the environment or human health at all. Like it's just to me so basic. Like you don't need to kill a dog, don't need to kill a cow, a pig, a cat. Like just don't do it. I don't understand. It's like I was starting to think like people say sometimes I'm too sensitive. I was thinking,
Yeah.
is that true? Like I just think I'm normal sensitive. I remember like in school, yeah, I was picked on in different, like, I don't know, were you ever bullied? I think you're pretty tall, eh? Like you probably weren't.
No, no. People would like tease me at school about certain stuff. Like it was my teeth when I was at school because I have a tooth condition called dentinogenesis imperfecta. So
Oh,
people would like make comments about my teeth and stuff. They've had a lot of work done on them over the
yeah.
years, but yeah, I'd get stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, like for me, I remember one time someone, some kids took my hat off my head and were throwing it back and forth. I was like running. I think I don't know what grade I was in, but grade 2 or something, and they wouldn't
Mm.
give it back. And I started crying, like, can you give me back my hat? And just like laughing. And I just thought, I don't understand that. Like, I would never laugh at somebody else's pain. And then I thought,
Mm.
maybe something is wrong with me. Like, because everyone seemed to think it was very funny to see me in distress. And another time, in grade 6, but I was fairly small, like not too tall. I remember one time we were just like, it was I think at the end of the school year, and we were just like going into our lockers. We'd go into our locker just to see if we could fit. Just like whatever. Oh, I could fit into my locker. And
Mm.
then I shut the door. No, somebody shut the door on me, and my thumb was stuck in it, like in the door, like being squished like so hard. And I was like trying so hard not to scream, and I'm like, let me out. And they were just like laughing, like, I'm like, let me out, my thumb is stuck. And everyone was just laughing at my suffering, you know, and I just thought, I don't understand that. I just can never understand laughing at anyone's suffering. But I'm also the kind of person, like if somebody trips outside, like I know there are members in my family who, if somebody trips outside, their first reaction is to laugh. Like, oh my God, that's funny. And my first reaction is, how can you laugh? Like, you don't know if they're okay. Like, I don't get it.
Do you know, I do find sometimes misfortune can be a bit funny though. Like if you see someone trip or something, I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to think of when I have. I mean, I must have laughed too at things like maybe someone, I don't know, drops their toast and it falls upside down. You know, I might laugh because it's just like, but it's more like a laugh, like, oh my God, like shit, that. But you know, and you kind of laugh, but you don't really mean to laugh or whatever. But you know, when it comes to animal suffering, it's just like so much on another level that how can anyone ever make a joke about, like, even if you're not vegan and you really don't want to be, how can you make a joke and say, here, I'm eating my bacon in front of you.
Yeah.
You want some bacon, like waving the bacon in front of someone's face, like they do. It's an example of vegan phobia that happens in schools. Like, you know, when I was teaching near the end there, the last year teaching, there were some kids who would wear like I love bacon shirts because they knew I was vegan, like wear it in the front row, like just to be mean on purpose. I don't understand that.
So do you still have a teaching job?
I'm not teaching anymore in the school system. No.
Yeah, I was going to say, they wouldn't like you, would they? You're way too controversial, and you've got too much.
I guess I'm retired from my nursing job and my teaching job.
Yeah.
I basically was a nurse for 25 years and then taught for 10. And then I just started, you know, coming on social media. And I mean, I do work full time here. Like I'm never doing anything else. I'm always either researching about veganism or making videos or interviewing people. Yeah. And how many hours a week do you say you put into it?
Into what, activism? Trying to think. Maybe if you clocked up all like like social media posts I write and like little like graphics I make, and then doing like We the Free stuff on the weekend. Ooh,
it's pretty much all of your spare time, isn't it?
No, I do other things in my spare time. I let my hair down as well. I'd say maybe about 10 hours a week if you clocked it all up. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I haven't. Yeah, I've never timed it actually.
Okay, I always suspected it was more than that because you're always doing stuff on TikTok. You're answering people's questions, and you're so active. And
you're right. Maybe it is more than that. I've noticed it's something I do. I don't know. I don't.
It is. Okay, like let's say when you're at work, do you not find yourself sometimes just going on social media and commenting or doing a quick TikTok at your break or whatever? Like, isn't it?
Oh yeah, on my break. Yeah, on my break,
I'll
always be. Yeah, 100% on my break. I'll always be doing that, and during my job as well, I'll be like listening to like a podcast or something with.
Well, this is all included. This is what I mean. I do not believe for a second that you only do 10 hours. I'm sorry. I really don't think that's true. A better way to try to figure it out is go backwards. Okay. So last week, George, what did you do that had nothing to do with veganism in your spare time? Did you play your guitar?
Yeah, probably a little bit. Actually, maybe I didn't. I might have played. I might have like. Well, I'd have like watched football and stuff and cooked because I like cooking as well. And
cooking vegan food.
Cooking vegan food, yeah. Gone to bars and stuff. So yeah, I do stuff not related to veganism as well. Like you know, I like to have my enjoyment when I'm not like beating myself, like beating my head against the wall, like answering comments and stuff. I like to let my hair down as well. So
do you live in England anywhere near other activists that I might know, like Alex O'Connor? Have you met him, or do you ever go have a drink with him or anybody like that?
Oh, Cosmic Skeptic. So the thing is, England's so small that we're all within like reach of each other quite easily. So like let's say Cosmic Skeptic, well, he lives in Oxfordshire, or he's from Oxfordshire. I don't know where he lives now, but Oxfordshire is just like, yeah, if I wanted to go to like Oxfordshire on the train from Bristol, it'd probably take like an hour. And
have you ever communicated with him in private or at all? Met him? I guess you might have met him at the camp.
No, he's never responded to me. I did see. I watched his talk at Camp Out, but he had such a big crowd of people around him after his talk that I couldn't get to speak to him. But I have like DM'd him stuff before. I've done a video on something that he said that I disagreed with. But
What
he's
was
never.
that? That was recent. He did something that was a bit like, "What are you doing?" Was it
I
a little?
think.
I have also a quote. I'm just started looking out of the corner of my eye. I had on a cardboard something, a quote that he said. Sorry to cut you off. Did I cut you off?
Yeah, I was
Yes.
gonna,
Right.
but don't worry, carry on. I forgot what I was gonna say now, but carry on.
No. Okay. Anyway, so but about his speech, because it was something to do with his speech.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
in his speech, he said he said a quote, and I forget. I had it written somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it's something like you can wake a sleeping person. You can wake somebody when they're sleeping, but you can't wake them up if they're pretending to sleep. In other words, you can enlighten somebody about veganism, but if they're just going to do like I'm not listening, or I'm fine, I'm a vegetarian, or whatever. Anyway, I think that's what he was trying to say. Do you remember that quote in his speech?
I don't remember that. No,
And
no.
it was from another person. Anyway, but I had a rebuttal to that, which was, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can wake somebody who's pretending to sleep, and the only way to do that is through physical force, right?
Shake
So
them awake.
you shake them, you blow smoke on them to make them go, oh, like you smoke them out. Like, so that's essentially the difference, I think, between my activism and many other people's activism, is that, he's a great speaker, and he's come out and being very logical about things about veganism, but people just listen and just like eat their popcorn and, oh, that's nice, Alex, that's good, okay, and then they just go on with their day, because he never makes anyone feel guilty. And to me, the equivalent of this, waking somebody up who's pretending to sleep, is that you have to shake them somehow emotionally. You have to
You're right. You're right.
you
Because
have to
now,
get at
yeah,
them. Wake
yeah,
the fuck, wake up! Like, throw water on them. Like, obviously you're not going to physically ever hurt somebody or touch them to get the message across. But the
yeah.
closest thing you can do is to make them feel guilty. And people are always like, guilt is wrong. You're so wrong. You should never guilt trip people. I'm like, people guilt trip people all the time. Look at the wearing of masks. How many people guilt tripped people for wearing a mask? Now it's for don't wear it. What are you wearing a mask for? It's over. Like, people use that all the time. So anyway.
You're 100% right. If someone's pretending to sleep, they need to snap out of that, and they need to be, taking the. It's like they're knowingly taking the blue pill, which is what makes it worse.
Let's talk about the blue and the red pill for people who don't understand.
Yeah. So the blue pill, red pill analogy comes from the movie The Matrix, which is a 1998-99 movie, and in it, basically, the world beyond what we know is a really dark and evil place. But some people who are awakened to this world, they basically find out that the reality that we see around us right now, it's like this sort of comfortable, nice, kind of world, but really it's actually a very dark, disturbing, like other dimension kind of stuff. And those who do find out about it, they're offered to take either the red or the blue pill. If they take the red pill, they learn the uncomfortable truth forever. And if they take the blue pill, they will fall back like asleep, going into their comfortable world, which is like more immoral in some way that they take the blue pill, though I can't quite remember why it was that it's immoral that they take the blue pill, but they're basically committing an immoral action in order to just feel comfortable about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what these people who are pretending to sleep, they're like willingly, they're getting offered the red or the blue pill. Do you want to learn the uncomfortable truth and live by that, or do you want to live the comfortable lie? And they're choosing the comfortable lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the vast majority of people choose that, because when you tell them about, example again about vegetarians, like they refuse to take the pill to see the truth.
Yes.
Even if they sort of know it's there, and even if they've sort of tasted the pill a little bit on their tongue, like, oh no, actually I don't want to do that. I don't want to know. I want to just walk around and think that I'm a good person because I'm vegetarian. Meanwhile, this is what I did. This is why this is why I'm such a tough bitch, because I wish that somebody like had done it to me, like what bullshit lies I told myself. I'm vegetarian. Meanwhile, I would put double the cheese on every pizza.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, you're still killing the baby cows in this industry that's a dairy industry, and I would just lie to myself. And eggs. I was eating eggs, two eggs a day. Eggs were like great, so easy, so fast, so delicious. And I was just lying to myself. And so this is why I'm so tough. It's just like, I don't want somebody to wake up 10 years from now and go like, oh my God, I wish I wish Miss Katie was tougher on me. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll be tougher on you now. So you can save all these animals. But it's so hard, right? Because like, what do you do in real life? There's activism online, and then there's like real life. Like, what do you do with your neighbor? Most people are just like not willing to cross that line with their neighbors. Whereas here, every single neighbor here knows exactly how I feel about them. They know exactly how that I'm vegan, and because I put up signs, and they've tried to rip them down and things like that. I literally have a video of a middle-aged woman walking by the signs, the sign that says, "Why love one but eat the other?" Just a cute little animals. They're pink.
Yeah.
Like just going like this, looking around and ripping it down and just walking away like a middle-aged, normal looking mom. It's like brings out so much anger in them just to see a reminder. Like, why are you eating a baby chick instead of a cat?
Yep. It's that cognitive dissonance kicking in.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you doing with, like, let's say your family members? Do you just kind of like lay low and just kind of like, okay, I'm just not going to talk to these people? Because sometimes that's the best way to go. Just work on other people's families, or in the streets or online.
Yeah, I agree with what Gary Yourofsky said. He said that family and friends are actually the hardest people to convert. Now, here's the thing. My friends and my family, they've seen all my stuff. They follow me on social media. They know exactly what they're doing. There's no point in getting into like arguments about it with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and Gary Yourofsky said, just focus your time and energy on those people, the people you don't know, who might be the type of people who will go vegan when they hear the message. Because otherwise, you'll waste time on all these people in your circle, and you'll lose all these people who are walking past in the street or who are online or whatever.
What is your theory about that? Why is it that family, friends, and like neighbors, people that see you physically in real life, are so closed off? Like, surely they must, I mean, is the ego, a human ego, that big that they just like, oh my God, if I start being vegetarian or vegan, so any steps towards it, she's going to say, or George is going to say, oh, I told you so, like, which would never happen. The only thing you would do is throw your arms around them and be like, yes,
well,
you're joining.
The first part of the theory is that, well, most people are just like that. So by chance, your family and friends are just going to be like most people and not want to go vegan. And then the second part of the theory is, with parents in particular, I think a lot of parents are quite resistant to their child going vegan, or going vegan because their child talked to them about it, because they don't really like the idea of being, you think what parenting is, right? You're a parent yourself. You raise your child. Yeah. You raise your child to be moral as how you see it. You raise your child with a specific set of like worldviews. You say, this is right and this is wrong. And I'm raising them as a good person, taking after myself who is a good person. And then your child turns around to you one day and says, actually, you're wrong about this and you're doing something immoral. And that thing that you raised me eating, yeah, that was wrong all along. So I think a lot of parents get defensive about that, because it's almost like you're assuming their job as the moral compass. Yes.
But again, like, why don't we teach these kinds of things to people in school? Like, okay, example. One day, by the way, when you're a mom and a dad, your child might say to you, mommy, what you're doing isn't right. And then in that case, you should probably listen.
Yeah.
Like I know with my daughter, when she was little, she went to somebody's house and the mother was smoking, and she was like 4 years old on a play date. And how I found out about this is that I picked her up from the play date, and the mom said to me, you know what your daughter did? I said, what? She said, she told me, you shouldn't be smoking. It's not good for you. And it's not good for my friend either to have this smoke here. Like she told me, but she told me with a kind of like smile and sort of like what a little know-it-all, but she quit.
Is your daughter how many children do you have?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. And how many of them are vegan?
Well, here's the thing, George. My kids and my family is something that I have chosen not to talk about.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, that's fair enough.
Because if I say that they are all not vegan, people will freak out. And if I say that they
Yeah.
are all vegan animal rights activists and that they've actually come across them on social media, they just don't know who they are. Then that's also like, oh my God, like
Oh
people talking,
man,
right?
all these theories now
So
running through my head.
either way, right? Like people have
Mm.
said, oh, deep vegan must be your kid, right? And people have always all kinds of theories, like, or vegan booty, a famous vegan animal rights activist
Yeah,
from Australia. People
yeah.
still,
You
say,
went to
oh,
Australia and had a kid, and then you went to Sweden and had a kid, and that was deep vegan. And
yeah,
that's the secret revealed.
yeah,
There
yeah,
we
yeah.
are, folks.
Vegan teacher slut, just going from country to country, just like popping them out and moving on. Yeah.
Australia, Sweden, where next? Wow.
I mean, look at, maybe you and I look a bit alike. I don't know. Maybe I'm your mom, who knows, right?
Well, there we are, people there. Yeah, but we can't speak about that.
Right. So, it's one day I'm going to speak about my family. I just haven't decided what I'm going to say exactly. But I think I don't believe in I really do believe in exposing the truth, telling the truth, and being as authentic as possible. I hate anything that's fake. And but when other people's lives are involved, it's a bit complicated, right? Like,
yes, it is.
If you have family members and then you tell me, oh yeah, I have a brother or my mom's not vegan, and then I say, what a bitch. Like, what the fuck's her problem? Like, how can she not be vegan when her son is seriously giving her every single reason? Like, what kind of an evil person is she? Like, you'd be like, okay, I don't want to talk to Miss Katie anymore because like that's just too much. How do I handle that? Right?
Yeah,
So
it's too personal. Yeah, I get you.
Family is a really tough one.
It is. And the last thing I want you to do is give away the identities of your kids or anything like that.
Yeah,
no, but I was just wondering, and I didn't know.
But I can't tell you though. I can tell you, I do have family members who are very active on social media. I won't say who, but they are very active on social media, and they, I'm proud of them for what they're doing. Do they want to be out and say that they're related to me? Look at how many people hate me. I mean, I have death threats. I have people throwing, dead bodies of animals on my property.
Yeah.
People run by and say, they go to McDonald's, they leave their packages of McDonald's, just throw it over my fence. All kinds of stuff. Like, so because I am such a hated person, it's in their best interest to do their activism and just stay a little bit away, right? So
yeah, 100%. You don't want to get your family involved in that after all the hate you get. I can completely see what you're saying there. 100%.
Yeah. On the other hand, can you imagine if, let's say, every single member of my family came out publicly and said, yeah, that's my sister, that's my aunt, that's my mom. Like, it would be, can you imagine the force that we would be? I mean, that is something that I've also thought about, is there are so many animal rights activists who are alone doing their work. Like, I can't even think of, like, if I think of you, I don't know who your family is. If I think of, Joey Carbstrong or whatever, like, I've never seen his sister or mom or, anybody. People are really alone. And it would be so great if people's families would come up and just make a video and say, by the way, I'm George's mom and I'm super proud of him, or whatever. Can you imagine how great that would be? I mean, just the emotional support alone, just on publicly, would be super awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but then you have to understand the other side of the coin as well. No, I get you.
Do you want to answer this question here?
Yes, good question. Some vegans say we should target corporations instead of individuals in activism. What do you think? I think that is a bad way of making people realize that they're the ones responsible for animal murder, not the corporations. The corporations aren't really the ones killing animals, it's their customers. The corporations are just giving the product to the customers what they want. You can't let people avoid accountability. And the comment starts off saying, some vegans say we should say this. It's usually non-vegans who are saying this. I talk to non-vegans in the street and they try to avoid accountability. They say, oh, why are you going after me? Why are you going after us? Why not go to McDonald's and tell them, well, hang on, I just saw you walk out of McDonald's and demand that a fucking cow is murdered for you. So why are you blaming McDonald's for something that you've demanded, right?
Yeah.
You what's the phrase is you demand the murder. Sorry, you demand the murder. They supply the burger.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. And people say that all the time to me too. I've heard that people saying, you know, why are you going after me? I'm just a regular person. I mean, I'm not, what can I do? A lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even just like I said just before, like even if the average person just does something and speaks out in defense of the vegans, you know, this is this whole thing about vegan phobia, and this word that I came up with which is vegan fantastic, which is the opposite. You know, just even if you're not yet vegan, you can still, if you see somebody abusing a vegan, meaning, you know, ridiculing the way that they look, which has nothing to do with their message, or just, you know, spamming the heck out of their comment section, even if you're not vegan, you can certainly see insensitivity, you know, people that are unkind, and you can say, hey, what are you talking to that person like that for? But you don't see the average, at least I don't. In my comment section, it's very rare that I'll see anybody saying, hey, you know, you might not agree with her message. Maybe you don't want to be vegan, but why are you such an asshole? Like, why are you just being so mean and talking about every physical part of her body, or just spamming bacon over and over? Like, it's just, you know, that's what I think we need more of, vegan fantastic people, as I say. And the reason I use that term is because, like, you know, there's homophobia and then there's vegan phobia. And I just thought, what would be the opposite? I just thought somebody who's vegan fantastic, but I spell it with a PH just because I don't know. You know, I don't, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have a song that says, you know, thank you for being vegan fantastic. Thank you for being a friend. And it goes, you know, and you like my Gary Yourofsky song.
Oh, that's my favorite one of yours. The Gary Yourofsky song is fantastic.
I have to find a way to get it to him. I don't know if he knows it exists.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't, because he's just kind of gone into the stratosphere, so to speak. He's just disappeared from the movement, and
it's such a shame, because I would just love to be able to talk to him over everything that I was going through with the cancel culture, and the, you know, a lot of vegans also turning their backs on me. I would like to say, because I know he went through that. You know, a big reason why he quit was because the vegans drove him nuts. He just was like,
yeah. And so, you know what? He has gone a bit nuts, right? He has gone a bit crazy. Like, I've seen, he did a few he released a few clips recently just on his channel. Maybe it was in like 2020 or something, or 2021. He just released a few like speaking clips of him just making like a point that would be like 1 minute each or something. And he's just gone a bit nuts, to be honest. Like, he talked about, like, one thing he said is that people who leave their house untidy should be taken outside of their house and then tied to a tree and then forced to watch as their house is burnt down and stuff. And he's just gone a bit nuts, really. And he even
he was wait. I think I might have heard that. Now, first of all, do you think he means it literally? That's number one. And number two is I think he's trying to say how filthy we are, because people make fun of pigs being filthy. Like, look, you don't even keep your own stuff filthy. So what right do you have? Like, I guess I'm sort of defending him, but I don't know. I would have to see more what he's saying, you know?
Yeah, and he made these quite weird. Yeah, it could have been like a figure of speech kind of thing. But he also made these quite weird, like SJW type video where he kind of said, like, he had this rant about the whole Capitol building riots and stuff, and talked about how Trump needs to be beaten up or something, and he just went on a bit of a woke rant, actually. He even called the protesters white privileged and everything, and it's just like, Gary, sorry, man, but you've lost the plot.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Yeah. But my song is directed at the Gary Yourofsky back then.
Yeah, he's still my hero, you know, even though he's gone nuts now. Gary, I love you still, even though that me and him probably wouldn't like get on. He's my favorite animal rights activist because of what he's done. What he's helped change the world, you know?
Yeah. It's I don't know what would make him go off course like that. I mean, certainly when you become vegan and you see how horrible humanity is, you can start to really dislike humans, and maybe something happened there, and maybe he just got off course and just kind of, like you said, lost the plot. I don't know, maybe let's go visit him. Apparently he's in Detroit or something. Let's go knock on his door and say, hey.
He lives in Michigan, yeah. So a visit to Gary, that could be on the cards. Yeah, we'll just turn up at his door one day uninvited.
Yeah. Hey, you don't know us. Who the
Yeah.
fuck are you? Fuck off, he'd say.
Yeah. I hope he does do that, because that would just be like, oh, Gary.
Yeah. I would love to have a conversation with him. If by any chance anybody knows him, tell him that the two of us want to talk to him. Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love that?
That would be amazing.
Like, hey, Gary, what you been up to? By the way, you guys don't know Gary Urofsky. If anybody's listening, Gary Urofsky. He had a speech that was, a very good speech. You can Google his name, Gary Urofsky. What's it called? Best speech you've ever heard, or
the best speech you will ever hear.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's one titled that as well, which I think is like a re-upload.
And it's just somebody in the audience who filmed it when he was talking at a university, but he just goes through every point, everything. So by the end, he just grinds you down. And you're like, okay, I have no excuse for what I'm doing. I have to be vegan.
Yep.
Charismatic. And he starts off right away saying, look, I'm not going after your religion. I'm not going after your race. I'm just like, I'm not here to be your enemy. I'm just telling you the facts.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's there just to tell the truth. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. Anything else here? So corporations. I think corporations, though. Do you know who somebody named Cranky Vegan is?
I do know of him. Yeah, me and him don't see eye to eye.
No, me either with him. Like, you know what the first thing was? You're going to think this is really crazy, but I can't. I really hate fakeness, and I hate anybody who just, I don't know, just doesn't stick to their word. I mean, we all sometimes are late for things or whatever, but he does this thing called 3-Minute Thursdays.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just like, every time I watch it, I'm thinking, okay, it's Thursday's 3 minutes. Okay, I can handle it. When you just have no time, you're brushing your teeth, you want to listen to something, and then it just goes on for like 7 or 8 minutes. I'm like, why are you calling the comment section? Why are you calling it 3-Minute Thursdays? Why are you doing that? You're lying. As soon as you lie, you already lost credibility with me. Like, why don't you just call it what it is? Yeah. Or just, why do you keep with this facade? Like, how is this funny? Or, and he's like, and yet you're here. And I'm like,
yeah.
And no, I'm not. I'm gone. Then I left. I never went back.
He has some backwards, like harmful views about animal liberation. So for a start, he believes that it's like wrong and like racist and blah, blah, blah to have a movement that's inclusive of people from various political beliefs. So he thinks that every vegan on a march should be like leftist, and that you're like endangering minorities and stuff by having like conservatives and Trump voters and whoever there. He thinks that he holds that delusional view, like, which is you can't hold consistently. And the left can't hold consistently, because the views that like they profess are like oppressive or whatever from the right are held, like, for example, by most like Muslims and stuff worldwide, like pro-life and two genders and stuff like that. So I wonder if Cranky Vegan would ban Muslims from animal rights marches. Of course he wouldn't, right? It's like totally inconsistent there. And then he believed that like Anonymous for the Voiceless were being racist by calling out that hypocrite protester holding a murdered pig's head going on a march and stuff. And he did some cringy video called like Anonymous for the Voiceless and Racism, which was,
that's right. Yes. He did a lot of things like that.
Yeah. And activists are absolutely right to call out BLM on their speciesism. They are, walking around with severed pigs' heads and strangling that white puppy with the lead and bashing a raccoon to death in the street with baseball bats. This shit needs to be called out. It's fucking evil.
I didn't see the puppy one and the raccoon one. For me, when they were holding the dead pig's head, which was supposed to symbolize the cops, the pigs.
Yeah.
And this is a black person holding this. I'm thinking, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
But if you try to call them out, you're being called a racist. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you must have heard my song that's called I Can't Breathe. Anyways, it's almost 1 million views, and it's based on basically just saying like there's a lot of sentient beings on Earth who can't breathe, and we should really not be pointing at one group and just saying you're all bad while you're they're eating the body of another. I'm just trying to make the point. It's a totally inclusive song. Talks about everything, even circumcised baby boys. Women who have been abducted, like it's Regan Russell, who was run over by a truck. I mean, she couldn't breathe. you know, like, and but immediately people are saying, well, you're racist because you're using that sentence in your song. And I was literally saying what they
They
did,
have a monopoly on the term "I can't breathe" now. It's fucking
like,
it's
yeah,
so
copyright, you
stupid.
know, like, and I was just
Yeah.
basically saying, look, it's terrible what's being done to everyone. I mean, that a dark-skinned person has the life snuffed out of them because of a white police officer is terrible, is horrible. How could people do that? It's awful. But
Even though, and I'm going to make a controversial point here, there is not even a single shred of evidence to this day that his death was motivated by racism in any way.
that's
There's
right.
not even
No,
the tiniest
no.
shred of evidence. Yet everyone just leapt on it and turned it into a race issue.
Everything is automatically, yeah, deemed to be racist, even if it might not be. And you know, racism sucks. It's terrible. And I can understand that sometimes people, if you're in a certain community, you kind of got your back up and you're sort of looking for it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just the way that it works. Like, what is it? Confirmation bias, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And
Yeah,
the same, go ahead.
like here's the thing: so many vegans just leapt on a bandwagon, and they, you know, it was just this. It just shows like they let the media manipulate every single like view that they hold, and that's why I think a lot of intersectionals are quite quiet at the moment. There's seems to be less drama in the vegan movement than there was like a few years ago, and my reasoning for that, I believe, is because now that Trump is out of office, the media aren't telling people to get angered by certain things because these things are still happening, but they're under the blue party rather than the red one. So, you know, Mexicans getting separated at the border, it's still happening. Where's
Yeah.
their anger over it? Nowhere, because it's all happening under fucking Joe Biden, and
Yeah,
the
it's
media isn't
crazy.
telling them to get enraged by it. This is
Yeah.
what intersectionals, this is how they live their lives. They get their lives are essentially led by what the media tells them to get enraged at.
And you made a great post about that. Like, you're trying to be this big radical with, you know, whatever. I don't want to say anything for appearing like I'm, you know, how can I say this politically correctly? But when in whatever manner you dress or however you identify with your pronouns or whatever, you're trying to look like this big radical, but in reality, you're just a puppet to what everyone else is telling you to say.
Yes.
And you know, I just want to stress again how important I think it is that everyone looks at all different kinds of media. I mean, even if you like, I don't know if you know what CNN is, the difference between CNN and Fox News. I would always watch CNN, always only CNN, and Fox News was just a bunch of radicals. They're a bunch of religious idiots. And then I thought, you know what? No, I have to go where the enemy is and see what they're saying. And then the more I sat there, the more I was like, you know what? They're not really the enemy. They are making some good points. And that's why I started, you know, watching all of these. I mean, there's a lot of things about Ben Shapiro I don't like, even and Jordan Peterson, you know, these guys, but their opinions, sometimes they say some stuff that's really good. So I'm just, you know, it's not about the person who's saying it. It's like, what is the message?
Yeah, most people in the public eye will have something valuable to say. You don't have to agree with everyone's views on everything, but we all have valuable points that we can contribute to the moral zeitgeist, if that makes sense. You know, the way that we look at things and the way that society progresses and stuff. Lots of people can contribute to this, whether their opinions are wrong or not about other things.
Yeah, I think that's a big takeaway, is just to not like, look, I have people that I would consider like my enemy, or like somebody I really just don't like on a personal level, right? But if they say something, even a sentence that makes sense, I will say, that's good. That's a very good point. And I think that now, I'm not going to say I'm the most mature person on earth, because I really don't think I am. But I think that is one characteristic that I do have. Like let's say even you and I had a huge disagreement, and we didn't talk for whatever, you know, but then I heard some quote, or I saw it written. I would say, that's a good quote. I'm not going to not praise what you were doing right just because I don't like you. And I think that's the problem. People look at, for example, that vegan teacher, and like, anything that comes out of her mouth, I'm going to hate what she says. So I can say, I can say, this pencil is yellowish orange. Oh, fuck you.
How
You're
dare you share I've had this myself. I've shared stuff by you, and I've had people comment on it as like, oh, why are you sharing the stuff from that vegan teacher? She said this. And it's like, why are you building your whole fucking, like, why are you censoring like what could be valuable quotes or songs or whatever it is, just on the basis of an opinion that you disagree with about someone? You're not going to agree with every single
Right.
person about every single thing. And most of the people who believe these things about you, they're misrepresenting you anyway. Like, they believe that just because you've said this about this or this about that you had racist intent in saying that, or homophobic intent, which you haven't. You have you don't have a single racist or homophobic bone in your body. You just say some things that some people might disagree with about this issue.
Yeah. All right, I'm noticing the time. It was almost 1 hour and 45 minutes or something. So let's see if there's any other quotes here. What about this one?
So this is just the vegan definition as coined by the Vegan Society. So veganism is a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose.
Right.
That's
so
the
veganism
original.
is not about food. It's really about the animals.
Yep. Any other purpose is the key bit.
Yeah.
The Academy. So this is about the nutrition side of things. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics confirms that a vegan diet is healthful for all stages of development. Therefore, we don't need to eat animal products. Yeah, the science is on our side. People need to stop saying, "Oh, well, I'm breastfeeding," or "Oh, well, I have a growing child." Yeah, there it is. The science has confirmed that a whole foods plant-based diet or just a plant-based diet in general is perfectly adequate for all stages.
Yeah. And just in case anybody's wondering, these people who have the name written like that, those are people that are my helpers, like teaching assistants on my channel. If you want to be a teaching assistant on my channel, which means basically that you just have proven that you're an ethical vegan and that you are interested in sharing facts. For example, this statement here. Please feel free to teach at any time on my channel. And if you want, you can put your name in this fashion. This is sort of like our I call it the uniform. So you write your first name underscore and the word vegan and then where you're from. And I ask people to say their real age because I find it sort of interesting to see the different people from around the world. You can see the time zones that they're in and so on. And so thank you, Stella, for being here. And we have also here Joanne, who writes, after the premiere, post comments in the mates. Yes, thank you. It's really great. So people often post things as the premiere is going on, but then afterwards in the comment section, they forget to keep educating people there. As people in the comment section spew all kinds of lies, and you'll say things like, "My brother's uncle died from being vegan," and it's like then 1,000 people press like on that comment. It's like, that's not what happened.
We need to be edifying in those comments after.
Yeah, nobody dies from being vegan. They die from not eating properly, like what, or just, whatever. Who knows what they're doing? You don't die from eating fruits, vegetables, and healthy foods. Like, just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Are you able to see the comments here? Is there anyone you want to? Somebody's writing the exact opposite of what I said. Vegan is about food. How can you say that? You don't. Did you not? We just literally read you the definition.
So that's from someone who's obviously not a vegan, because they obviously don't understand what they're talking about. Because, well, how on earth can you be vegan if you're abusing animals, where regardless of what the fuck, like, does he think that animals are just used for food? He doesn't think they get beaten at the circus and forced to ride tourists, on elephant rides in Thailand, or that they're not like harmed for clothing, leather and stuff. So
react to Oompaville. What? Did he recently do another video about me? I don't know.
I don't know who that is. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a guy who has like 2 million followers, and we did videos back and forth. He did something, typical thing, trying to make fun of me, exaggerating, twisting my image, and just basically not being kind. And he's kind of a joker. But at some point, I was DMing him, and I said, "Look, it's kind of enough now. Like you're actually got all the information. Like, how long are you going to keep doing this?" Yeah. And I said, it's a real shame. You have an ability with your 2 million followers to at least say, "Hey, I'm going to try to be vegan," and then just make all your jokes about other things. But, to just keep, flashing burgers on the screen or whatever, like, it's just vegan phobic to the max. Like, it's just so childish. And that's a lot of people. Even that woman, Sniper Wolf, who has 30 million followers. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's somebody who, she did some videos about me. Like, it'd be so easy for these people to simply say, That vegan teacher wants to save animals. Let's all try to eat less animals this week. And let's all of us try to buy soy milk. Like
Yep.
2-3 sentences. Do you know how many animals these people would help to save by just not being complete dicks, not being complete assholes, and just actually just, just looking at my actual message instead of just trying to ridicule it? Like, it's mind-boggling to me how they don't see how much power they have, because people would follow.
Yeah.
Like these people with third, like Sniper Wolf, or that other one is Call Me Chris. Do you know her? She's quite talented, does all these little skits over on TikTok. She's very talented. She's Canadian, actually. And she also did a video just, basically just trying to make fun of me, instead of just saying, you know what, that vegan teacher, like, I'm going to try to be vegan. Like, I'm going to try it, or I'm going to buy some vegan products. She should just hold up some, I don't know, vegan ice cream, like anything.
Yeah.
And that's what's so discouraging, is that all of these big stars, like not Darman, Mr. Beast, Dr. Mike, like all of these ones who have millions of followers, they've acknowledged my existence, which is something. Some people are going to get a click, and some people who are smart are going to look through it and go like, wait, that what they're doing isn't very kind. But they could have had so much positive influence by just saying, you might not like that vegan teacher or the way she gives her message, but look, the truth is, like, this is going to help the environment, human health, and save so many lives. And that's what I just don't understand, how people's egos can be that big that they can't even give their audience the basics.
Yeah.
And if anything, they go the opposite sometimes. Like Dr. Mike was started trying to talk, find a way to say like vegan burgers are like a junk food or whatever. Like, come on, like, just, I'm not telling people to eat vegan, Beyond Burgers every day,
Yeah.
And anyway. Have you had any interaction with anybody who has a lot of followers? Have somebody ever interacted with you? Managed to get the attention of the Sheena Novas of the world or whatever?
No, I don't think someone big enough from the non-vegan world has ever done something to call out of me, actually. I'm kind of hoping they do, so that I can respond to them.
But you know why they'll never do it? You know why, George?
Why?
Because you never make people feel guilty enough. And I know it's not your style. And I get it in a way, like, you're younger than me and you maybe have to keep your job. To me, it was like, fuck the job. Like, I'm like, I have the ability. And so I have the responsibility to give people shit and tell it like it is. If I didn't, like, I don't believe in God. Okay. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I pretend that I believe in God sometimes. I pretend that I believe in the universe. And if there's some sort of power out there watching me, and they know that I can do all of these skills and I just choose not to, like, I ain't going to heaven. Like, I know right now that I am going to heaven if there is one, because I'm putting all my energy into doing the best that I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but guilt is a good way to get the attention of some of these big stars. You make a couple of videos, you have a good sense of humor with sarcasm too. If you go and pick on them a few times, and I could follow up. See, if you do a video, let's say doing something about Sniper Wolf, right? Just because I did. And you just say, oh, let's see what the vegan teacher thinks about Sniper. Let's see who is this person? And then you make a video about it, and then I can react to that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, I
think we should be working more with one another.
You're right. Everyone. And I should, because these non-vegan influencers and stuff, they're using their platform to, like, ultimately oppress animals. So I need to be more savvy about trying to find the ones who are saying that kind of stuff, so I can do a video on it.
Yeah, or anything, any little thing that they do. I mean, this is what I try to do, is I try to see who is out there. And if I see them doing anything at all, just even joking about having a flurry at McDonald's, like, okay, I'm going to go for you now. You are just literally told your 30 million followers that it's okay to pay for the rape, torture, confinement, sadness, kidnapping of murder of baby cows. That's what you did by promoting that flurry.
Yeah.
That's what I did to her,
right.
And it's just, it can even be a 5-second clip. But we have to call these people out. Because of what they're doing, the damage they're doing to all of their fans. I mean, if you see just think of McDonald's, like, could not have asked for a better spokesperson than somebody like Sniper Wolf, who just says, oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's later today. Like, fuck, do you know how much money they would have paid for you to say that? You just gave them all this free publicity and everyone's going to relate that product to that person, their supposed hero. It's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know about Upaville. I don't know if anybody answered, but if there's something to do that would help the animals, I would do it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do anything with this person because he's just mean on purpose and willfully ignorant and just not even, at some point you just say, okay, move on, right?
I'm having a burger while watching this. You're missing out, vegan lady. So yeah, just some teenage troll, probably might not even be a teenager up there, but they're probably a school-age child just making that comment.
Yeah. So what do you think motivates somebody to try to do that, to try to be mean on purpose? It's so strange. Like if we were defending Black people right now, right, would they just be talking about hurting them? Like hey, it's great that you two are there talking for 2 hours about saving innocent animals from harm, but I'm over here hurting. Like if we were talking about any other group, no way would this person be doing that. It's fascinating.
No, you're right. Yeah, and it just shows how victimized animals are. They're victimized to such an extent that people don't even see them as victims.
Yeah.
So this must have been a reply to someone else in the comments who just says, I don't think Germany is going vegan because they face two huge problems: Russia and their energy supply. I'm not sure how that would stop Germany from going vegan if they ever did want to go vegan. I'm not sure what Russia or their energy supply has to do with being vegan. Because Russia, I have no energy supply, and Russia stuff is happening while I exist and I'm vegan. So,
Yeah, it's literally going into the store and choosing the soy milk instead of the cow milk. Like literally, you're 6 inches away. That has nothing to do with a war going on around you. I don't get it. Russia, the energy is. Why do people say this kind of thing? I don't understand. And if you sat this person in front of you, what do you think that they would say? They would just be like, like they'll try to talk about anything else. They'll try to talk about the weather. Like, what I want to do one time with you, if you're up to it. I would like to do a live, and I would like to be the carnist, like the actual carnist. Like I would not be myself. I would literally come on and go, what? Who's this? Who are you? And just like, just say, oh, it would be so therapeutic for me to act out like a complete idiot and watch you deal with it.
Yeah, we could do that. Why not? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And that could educate people in the comments section about like the responses you can give.
Yeah, but the only downfall to that is like, okay, so I would even do everything. I would do everything. I would probably have some vegan bacon. I would say, oh, I'm eating bacon. Or obviously I'd have a vegan burger, and I'd say, you want a bite of my burger? Like I would just be a complete bitch, right? And the problem is that what people will do? They'll take those little snippets.
Yeah.
And they'll say, you see, because they already do it. You know how many people think I've actually like hurt my dog, which I haven't, because they just take the littlest snippet of something and they. I
saw there was one rumor ages ago that you were seen eating a Big Mac in McDonald's. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, oh no, but millions of people still, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. I say millions, I'm not talking thousands, millions of people think that I have eaten these things because I was literally filming outside of McDonald's, and they'll like take a clip of me standing outside with the sign behind me, doing a video saying how nobody should eat at this place. I'm like, see, she's just left McDonald's. Yeah, we saw her in there. She was like, the rumors, like anybody will invent anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. And
then they showed a picture of some woman who looks like maybe somewhat like me, from the back. And then there's like, this was already like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So they'll do anything. So that would be the only reason I would hesitate. So if I did do that, I would have to dress up like in a way that's not me. I'd have to wear something that was clear that I was being a caricature. But how would you like to deal with me? I'm gonna be really mean. Me bitch.
Yeah, we should do it.
Are you gonna stay calm? Maybe
I'll stay calm.
Maybe you'll convince me by the end.
Yeah, maybe.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I'll bring up every argument.
I'm ready.
You better have a stiff drink before.
Oh, I definitely will.
Right. So what do we hear?
Russia has way more than enough land to do so. It's a conversation within a conversation.
Yeah, I'm just okay. This will be the last one because it's 1:58.
Yeah, cool. Overpopulation of animals will never happen in a vegan world because we will not be breeding animals into existence anymore. Cows, pigs, chickens, lambs, all will be phased out naturally. Yeah, so this is a response to when people say, if we don't stop eating farmed animals, they'll take over the world. And obviously, the actual reality is we currently do have an overpopulation of farmed animals because people are buying them. People are paying for them to be mass bred by the hundreds of billion.
Yeah.
In a vegan world, we're not going to be breeding chickens, cows, and pigs and turkeys and so on.
It's amazing that people, like, you can understand in a way that when they first think about it, they haven't really followed through. They don't know. But what's disappointing is they don't even listen to the argument. We can't reach enough people, because any logical person who just heard your explanation would be like, oh, okay, yeah, right?
Yeah. Veganism could prevent future wars because it is a sustainable way to provide enough food for all people on this planet while protecting the animals and the planet. Yeah, so we could likely have a resource war one day in this carnivore food system because it's very inefficient. It's very poor use of resources, how we're currently feeding the world, because we're feeding all these crops and all this water and using all this land to accommodate farmed animals rather than humans. Animals that need not exist, animals that we need not be breeding by the hundreds of billion. So it's a very inefficient way of eating and living. And there could be a war over it one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this one we went over before about comparing Holocaust to the animal, disrespectful.
Yeah, so I just want to say B-Brick's future. The problem is you are seeing animals in the same way that the Nazis saw the Jews. You see them as these inferior beings who it's okay to, their lives are disposable. And it's some kind of insult to be mentioned in the same breath as you. Like a Nazi would say, how dare you compare an Aryan to a Jew? I feel unclean that you've made this comparison. Don't compare me to a Jew. That's what you're doing, but about non-human animals.
Yeah. I don't know if that person understands what you just said, but to me, it made perfect logical sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we just don't want to see anyone harmed.
100%.
So thank you to the moderators. Thank you so much to Joanne, Mark, Stella, everybody else, Twisted A, any of my teaching assistants who've been here to teach this whole time. You guys are awesome. I mean, it's a long time to be continually giving vegan facts. Deeply, deeply appreciate you guys so much. And to my guest, Carnism Debunked, you guys should check out his channel, carnismdebunked.com. Yeah?
Yeah, that's my website, carnismdebunked.com. And then Miss Katie has tagged my name in the video title to this. So you can just click the Carnism Debunked tag and that will go straight to my channel.
Yeah, where you will see he has every argument that you guys could think of. And it has the answer to everything. So if you are a vegan and you're a new vegan and you're like, oh, I don't know how to answer that question, just go to his site. And he also has little videos in there, all kinds of stuff. And I was telling George, I don't like your site because this font is too small. It's all black and this little tiny red stuff. And then eventually I did figure out that I can press Command+.
You can zoom. Yeah.
And it can like shrink it in such a way because that way I could, because sometimes I like to copy and paste things and use them in videos. Yeah. I was like, how do I? Anyway, I still think you should revamp it and make it a little bit bigger. I don't know if you can do that. Just for the, just people have a hard time seeing and who don't know the stand or like this, like it's not inviting.
I actually did. When you messaged, I actually said to you, Miss Katie, you can zoom in. However, what I'll do is I'll just adjust it slightly more. So it's like a sort of happy.
I haven't been. Yeah, I haven't been back. Good.
Yeah, have a look.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for helping to educate everybody. Thank you for being awesome. I love you, George. You're just such a great animal defender. And, I wish we lived on the same continent so we could do some stuff together. Don't forget, everybody, to go to Activism, WTF, which stands for We the Free. Go and see what they're doing. They have nice videos there, and they're teaching you how you can do street activism and just get out there now that COVID is hopefully disappearing and summer's coming. Who knows?
Yeah. 100%.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me on, Miss Katie, and I love you too. And thanks for everything that you're doing for the animals. Maybe
we'll see you sometime. If everything ends, we're going to go to Europe because, my husband's family is in Italy, like to go there, but now with the war in there, I don't know.
Yeah, of course, the whole war in Europe at the moment. So it's.
I mean, we just got over COVID, and then like people don't have enough bad stuff in their life; they're going to cause wars.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
It's just, humans are just despicable.
Yeah.
Anyway, but still, we'll see each other online.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.